Bang! Neeves knives. I'm Jared. My lovely wife Kara is at work, and today we are checking out the CJRB small Feldspar. So they do make a larger version of this knife, but this one is the small version. So let's. Oh yeah! First off, I want to thank our buddy Lavenderpants. He gifted these to us. He gifted this to us along with the knife right here, which is the QSP Penguin. So thank you to him. He's such an awesome dude in this community and is a huge, massive supporter of our channel and has been since the beginning of our channel. So thank you to him. This knife is pretty awesome, but as all knives do, there are some bad things. So let's talk about the good and the bad. But first, let's get past these boring specs. So first up, this is a $35 knife, which is an awesome price. And just like with this one's a $30 knife. So both of these are very similar because they're in the same price range. Even though they are so different, they're very similar in a lot of ways. But the overall length is 7 inches. It has a 3-inch blade. So for the places that need a 3-inch or under blade length, this might be for you. It is a D2 blade steel, G10 steel liners, and the handle length is 4 inches, which is a good length for even, because it's not too small. It's a medium-sized to small knife, but not too small. It still works for, even people with larger hands. So it is 2.62 ounces, so the weight on it is really, really light. It's actually very, very nice. And so let's get to it. Okay. Oh, wait. Let's do the size comparisons really quickly. So you already seen it next to the QSP Penguin, which they're right there with each other. I think the Penguin's just a smidgen longer than the Feldspar. Here it is next to the Civivi Elementum. And if you can't see that blade very well because of the background, here's another one. Okay, so here it is next to the Para 3 Lightweight, which you see they are very, very similar. They're actually right there even with each other. I'd say they're the same length. And then here's another QSP, the RIA, which we are giving away in our package for our Patreon giveaway, actually probably tonight or tomorrow. So last chance to get into our Patreon giveaway. And it's big. I'm telling you, it's a big giveaway. A lot of money and stuff. You'd be pretty dumb not to join. And then here it is next to the Benchmade Bug Out. All right, let's just get to it. All right, so you see this is the Jade G10 D2 blade steel, which D2 is for this price is really good. And it's, because it does have great edge retention, and it's not a full stainless steel, but it's pretty stain resistant. It's not quite a stainless, but it's still a good steel. You just got to keep up with it just a little bit more than a stainless. You see it does have a drop point blade, but it does have some belly. It's not a straight back. I know it kind of looks like it is, but it does have a taper that tapers down. Now the blade thickness is only 110 thousandths. Nice thin blade stock. I like to see that. And it does get down to a reasonably thin edge. It's not really, really thin, but it's pretty decent. I measured this one at almost 20 thousandths. It was like 18, 19 thousandths. Now, I will say this, we did sharpen this a couple times because the first time I sharpened it, Kara took it to work with my fresh, nice, beautiful edge, and I put a nice, beautiful edge on it. I didn't hold back. I didn't even put a working finish. I put some work on it. Then she came home, and she put the knife down, and usually when she does, I always open it up and check it out because she likes to leave tape and gunk, and I always clean it off and strap it back for her. And I pulled it out, and the whole edge is rolled completely over from bottom to top. I mean, just annihilated. I'm like, what did you do? She says, oh, I cut some metal or something like that. And I said, why? What are you doing cutting metal? She's like, I wasn't cutting metal. She's like, I hit metal. And it's like, it happens. What can I say? She's using her knife and it happens, so I can't get mad. But it wasn't something that I could strop out. So I had to give it a whole brand new fresh edge. And then this time I just put a good working finish on it because, these are user knives and that's what they're made for. So, hey, I can't be mad at using a knife. But, yeah. So, very nice edge. It did take an edge very nice. Didn't have no problems sharpening it. They did put a decent sharpening trail. They did pass the plunge grind. So no complaints there. It does have great thumb stud action. This is a small knife, but still you have very good placement, like to get a grip on it for the thumb stud. And then the thumb stud placement is just great. I mean, it's so good for middle finger flicks, thumb flicks. It's just in such a great place. The lock bar, super easy to unlock. I love when you can see the liner or lock like that, because that just means you can easily access it. Listen to that lock. I mean, this thing, it's got some pop to it. Love that. Sorry about my skin. I got dry hands. I got calluses. Sorry, guys. But yeah, nice and loud. But yeah, easy to unlock. It is on bearings. So since it's on bearings, it is very smooth. Nice drop. The detent is right there, but it doesn't have the flipper tab, so you don't have to worry about it getting in the way. So doesn't, even if that detent ball was a little late, it's very easy to push past. So very nice action. The action's very nice and very easy to slow roll too. The detent's not too strong to where you have to pinch it out. You can just pop it out with your thumb and roll it out. Very, very nice. But it is enough detent to where you can snap it when you break the detent with some pop. It gives you, great action. That's basically what I'm saying. The G10 is done very well. I do like this G10. This is jade, so it can be dyed any color. We're still talking about what colors to dye it. And so far, we're leaning towards gray or lavender for Lavenderpants. Oh yeah, so the hardware. You see the pivot collar. It does have a nice brass pivot collar, which I think that looks really cool. It kind of makes it pop. So whatever color we pick, we do have to make sure it matches with that. Now, it does have a T8 pivot, and then T6 is down here. You see the nice lanyard hole. The pocket clip is reversible, and it has a nice clip. The clip works very well. No complaints on the actual clip. I do wish they would have put some flat screws in there, but it's not that big of a deal because you still have plenty of room. And with rounded screws like that, if the heads are rounded just right, your pants don't bind up. It's when they're squared off and have edges and stuff, but it's still nice because if it's flat, you actually feel when you put it in your pocket when there's nothing there. Like say when you have a clip like this, where there's actually nothing in the way, you can feel it. Like it makes all the difference. Like they just slide in and out of the pocket so much better than a clip that has screws that pops up. I do like that they only have the two-piece or the two standoffs. Really nice. Now the stop pin that you see right here, let me zoom in a little bit. You see the stop pin right there. Now that's for the open and for the close. And the detent is nice and clicky. I like that. Now, so I guess that's pretty much all the good things. Now let's talk about the bad things. So the worst thing, I'll just start off with the worst thing because I already talked about the round screws. So the round screws, that's one thing. They could have used flat screws. The next thing is this grind came off. So it's centered right now. I know it doesn't look like it, but it is. The problem is the blade is not ground correctly. It is ground a little off. One side is longer. It's just they didn't grind it straight. So that's a grind issue. Now, I didn't have too much of a problem when it came to sharpening the bevel. So the actual like grind coming this way down towards the edge wasn't really that off, but you can see that they are off from this side to this side. One of these comes longer than the other. So, I mean, the flats, basically. So this flat is longer than this flat. But the grind going down to the edge is still pretty even, where it wasn't hard to match the angle when sharpening it. I think it was a little bit different towards the tip, but it wasn't that big of a deal. And, you know, I'm pretty used to having to manipulate that. But the grind, when it came to looking centered, was off. So that's a pretty big one. I think a lot of people would send it back and be mad about that. I'm not. Like, to me, it's a $35 knife, and it's so awesome that's not really that big of a deal. It's not rubbing. It's not hitting nothing. I mean, yeah, if it was a really expensive knife, then yeah, but I mean, this is a straight user, and, you know, I'm going to be lucky if it doesn't wind up getting bent from all its use anyways, because we like to use our knives. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's not that it's a deal, but not a big deal, you know, but it is a deal, and some people might take it as a big deal. Now, the next big thing, I've heard in the community, because I like to talk to the community and listen to them and hear stories from them about their experience with their knives, and I've heard some complaints about CJRB, and then it's like I've heard a massive amount of great things, and then I've heard this little group of bad things. So, and like, if you here's an example for you. If you go to Outpost 76 got the big one, so it's not the mini, but he got a big one. And watch his video. His came all messed up. He got one and it was completely messed up. So and I'm not saying that not to get one of these. These things are awesome. I mean, I love this thing, especially for $35. I'm just saying that I'm starting to hear some complaints out there about, you know, what they received. Now, this one's just fine. Oh yeah, there also is a little squeak. Now, I did oil it and it went away. But once the oil kind of dries up, it comes back. So that's most likely just, it's like one of the bearings is probably rubbing a little bit harder than another one, so it probably just needs to break in a little bit. Not that big of a deal. Stuff like that, like, I can literally just toss some oil in it and it'll go away. So it's just when it's dry. But yeah, so the complaints from the community, I mean, that is something, you know, because when a company's doing very well, that shows. And since we are a tight-knit community, when the bad things come out, it comes out, and we know it. So the majority is all good things, but there are a group of people saying that they're not happy. They didn't receive, you know, theirs had problems. So it's something to think about. And but I honestly, I think if you bought one, I don't think you'd have a problem. I think yours would come pretty good. But, you know, it's something to note. I don't want to lead anybody into, you know, something bad. But like I said, there are some people that did have some complaints. But the majority is all good things. So I'm sorry, I spent entirely way too long talking about that. But overall, I really like this. This thing is absolutely badass. Great action, nice and slicey, cuts really well. The ergos are really good, even though it does have a little bit of the teardrop. It still has a nice straight back, so this little area fits right in your palm really nicely. It's not a full hand grip because, you know, you could see my pinky's a little off right there, but I can easily slide my hand up just a little bit right there, and it works really good. I kind of, instead of letting my finger go off here, I just make my finger go up there, and I get a really good grip. And then also these grips are all really nice. So this thing is really, really badass. I do really like it. It's very useful, and for 35 bucks, killer deal. It is one of the better budget knives in the community, but there are some complainers out there, so I had to talk about it. I love you guys. Peace.